In the heart of Lagos, Nigeria, there lived a little boy named Frank. Born into a poor family, Frank learned from an early age that hard work and perseverance were the keys to survival. When he was 15, his father fell ill and died, leaving his mother to care for his younger siblings. Frank had to drop out of school to provide for his family. Through family connections, Frank was introduced to a wealthy businessman named Alhaji Bello, who owned a large electronics store in a busy market in Lagos. He was an astute businessman, known for his tough attitude and ability to make money in all market conditions. Frank was employed as an errand boy, performing menial tasks such as cleaning the store, organizing the goods, and making deliveries to customers. Frank worked for Alhaji Bello for about 10 years. During this time, Frank proved to be hardworking, honest, and loyal. He would often give his utmost for the business, staying late to help with stock and coming in on weekends to fill special orders. Alhaji Bello promised Frank that he would one day appease him and give him capital to start his own small business, but the years passed with no sign of that promise being fulfilled. By the time Frank was 25, he was exhausted. He had invested so much time and energy into Alhaji Bello's business, yet there was little to see in return. Any hope of starting his own business seemed distant. Despite this, Frank never showed bitterness or anger. He believed that God would one day reward his efforts, even if Alhaji Bello did not point. One day, during a trip to Alhaji Bello's store, Frank overheard some boys in the market talking about SportyBet, a betting platform where you can bet on soccer matches. Frank had always loved soccer but had never thought about betting. Yet, something in the conversation stuck with him, and that night he decided to try his luck with a small amount of money. To his surprise, Frank's first bet paid off, and he won $10,000. Encouraged by his success, Frank began betting carefully with small amounts whenever he had spare change. He was not reckless, and he did not bet every day, but whenever he had a hunch about a match, he would bet. Months passed, and one day, Frank bet on a major soccer tournament. He guessed an unlikely outcome that most people thought was impossible. But against all odds, Frank's prediction came true. His bet of 1,000 Nigerian Nairas turned into a whopping 20 million Nigerian Nairas. Frank could not believe it. After years of struggle, he suddenly had enough money to start his own business. Without hesitation, Frank quit Alhaji Bello's business. Although Alhaji Bello was shocked by his resignation, he did not ask why. He took Frank's loyalty for granted and expected the young man to always work for him. With his newfound wealth, Frank opened his own electronics store in the same market. He invested wisely, buying quality goods and hiring several young people from the neighborhood to help him run the store. Within a few years, Frank's business flourished. His store grew from a small stand on a street corner to one of the largest electronics stores in the market. Meanwhile, Alhaji Bello's fortunes worsened. He made several bad business decisions, invested in failed ventures, and found himself in debt that he could not repay. His once thriving business collapsed, and he soon found himself struggling to make a living. His electronics shop, once the pride of the market, was now a shadow of its former self. One day, Alhaji Bello was walking through the market with only a few naira in his pocket. His pride had stopped him from asking for help, but now he was desperate. As he wandered aimlessly, he came across Frank's big shop. When Alhaji Bello saw that Frank had come this far, he put his pride aside and went inside. "Frank, my boy," Alhaji Bello said quietly. "It's me, Alhaji Bello." Frank looked up from his desk and immediately recognized his old boss. But Frank did not feel anger or resentment, only pity. He could see the shame in Alhaji Bello's eyes. "Alhaji," Frank said quietly, "what brings you here?" Alhaji Bello hesitated before speaking. "I am no longer the man I used to be, Frank. I have fallen on hard times. I know I did not treat you fairly when you worked for me. I am truly sorry that I did not pay you as promised. But now I have no choice but to ask you for help." Frank was silent for a moment, recalling all the years he had worked for Alhaji Bello. But he also remembered the lesson his mother had taught him, which was that kindness and forgiveness are stronger than any grudge. "Alhaji," Frank said, "I will help you." Frank gave Alhaji Bello a loan to restart his business. He also offered free advice on how to avoid the mistakes he had made in the past. Alhaji Bello was touched by Frank's generosity and gratefully accepted the assistance. Over time, under Frank's leadership, Alhaji Bello was able to rebuild his business, but it never reached the heights it once did. The story of Frank and Alhaji Bello became a hot topic in the market. People were amazed that the tide had turned and praised Frank for his humility and generosity. Frank never sought recognition or revenge. He learned that true wealth lies not only in money but also in character. Moral of the story: life doesn't always reward you as you expect, but with hard work, perseverance, and kindness, the right opportunity will come your way. Even if others have wronged us, it is better to help and forgive than to hold a grudge.